Hi James,
Hey Kenny, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too. I'm Kenny from Berlin Music. Okay, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Very well. How about you?
I'm good.
Nice.
So you're in uh house in home at home?
I'm at home. So yeah, I'm Brighton, yeah,
Okay,
UK. So just like a little bit south of London, right on the south coast.
I see Brighton.
Yeah.
I think I heard they have a good football club.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
for sure, yeah. That's true.
Okay. Okay, James. Let's talk about your new album, right? Lost Boys Golden Hour.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the meaning of the title? Can you explain that?
Yeah, for sure. So the album originally kind of was inspired, at least
Mhm.
partly, by a book that I read that
Okay.
it's called the Artist's Way, and
Mhm.
it's really about reconnecting with your younger self, your artistic self, unblocking yourself creatively, and just like yeah, reconnecting with your inner child and the way you see the world when you're growing up. So yeah, when I came to start this album and get into it, there was yeah this a lot of these feelings of like that kind of bittersweet nostalgia for how simple life feels when you're younger and just like how magical you can see the world. And as you get older, it's harder to keep hold of that. You kind of lose it a bit.
Mhm.
The stresses of life kind of
Yeah.
can weigh you down. So yeah, this album and the meaning of the title, it was really just me trying to yeah, admit that I kind of like there's a certain element of being lost, and just like trying to reconnect, trying to find the magic of childhood, which in within the title is kind of represented as the golden hour.
Okay, so mostly of the song in this album is your experience like that,
Yeah.
personal experience. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing that was really nice about doing this album as a solo artist after doing Yakul for so many years was that because it's all mine and it's just me, I felt like it was easier to be vulnerable and to just like
Mhm.
truly be myself. Within the context of a band, it felt like I couldn't quite express those things because it wasn't fully mine. But yeah, doing the solo project, I felt more free to express certain things that I haven't expressed lyrically in previous releases and yeah, like other projects.
So how many songs that you is in this album in the Lost Boys and Golden Hour? How many track?
How many how many songs?
Yeah.
So it's 11 tracks, but two of them are kind of like
Mhm.
little interlude e type things. Um I mean if I'm thinking about like how many songs I actually wrote during the process,
Mhm.
it's not it's not that many more. It's interesting. So from my experience with Yakul of um doing albums, the the last album that we did before we stopped being a band, we wrote about like 50 songs, and then the album
Okay.
has like 10 or something. So we had a lot to choose from. So I know that like, the more songs you have to choose from, the easier it is to see a common thread between songs. Like
Oh,
yeah, like what feels like an album, what's like cohesive within all of these songs. Yeah, but with this album, I honestly didn't write that many more songs. It was the majority of it came within a 2 month period. And I think to me, like, why, like, I think the album for like, I'm happy with how cohesive it sounds. Like to me, it sounds like it was all written around the same time, which I love that in an album. To me, that feels like it's a real snapshot of time. It's like, you know, this is where I was at this point. It's like a flag in the sand. It's like, you know, this is where I was as a person and creatively. So yeah, and one last thing on that as well, actually, I wanted to get one more song on the album. And it was like at the end of last year, and there was a couple songs that I was like trying to finish off and just yeah, just to get one more song on the album. And I had this moment where I was like, oh, this isn't the album. Like this is another project. And I'd already kind of just like moved on a little bit creatively, and that the moment had kind of passed a little bit. And I was like, that's the album. That's it. If I'm now writing something that doesn't feel like it's part of the same project, to me, that shows that that project is done, and then I can get that out and kind of move on.
Okay. So you mentioned your band, yeah, yeah, and this is your first debut album, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As a solo artist, yeah, my first
Okay.
yeah debut
What's
album.
the most different in the process in the making of what between you as a band and you as a solo album? What's the most different thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the biggest difference is the speed, really, I would say. So yeah, doing it in the context of the band, there were a lot more moving parts. So just taking the last album that we released before we stopped, we wrote all of that on these writing retreats in the countryside, and we started doing those in 2021,
Mm,
summer 2021.
mm,
We did that for 2 years. Then we started recording. The album came out in summer 2024. So it took 3 years from the very start of that process to when we put it out. Um, and the problem with that, or one of the problems with that, is once it's out, you don't necessarily feel so connected with it because you've moved on. Like, because it was 3 years. It's a long time to like for like you're the you know we all change as people and as artists we'll change, we'll
mm,
progress, we'll be inspired by new things, we'll move on stylistically. And for to have a 3 year period of time working on this one thing, when it by the time it came out, maybe we'd kind of yeah moved on a little bit from it. But the great thing with doing it on my own, because you know I'm doing everything myself, I can be so much faster with it. So I decided to do an album in like August last year, and then you know less than a year later it's out. So I still feel really connected to it, and it means that when I come to promoting it and
mm,
just talking about it, it feels like I still feel like I embody that album rather than it being someone that I used to be.
mm, mm.
Mm.
Okay, that's great. Okay, you just giving me love as a focus track.
Mm.
Any reason why you choose this song as a first single or focus track?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that it definitely sums up a lot of what the meaning of the album is, you know. So it's about finding it hard to love yourself and finding it hard to build yourself up.
Mm,
And then discovering it through other people being able to see the
mm,
best parts of you.
mm,
So in a certain way,
mm,
this is the first time I've thought of this, to be honest. In a
mm,
certain way, it kind of bridges the gap between the Lost Boy and the Golden Hour. You know, it's like this thread in between the two in
mm,
a certain way.
mm,
Um, It was also one of the first songs that I wrote on the album,
mm,
or at least the chorus was. Yeah, that hook and the lyrics for that was I had pretty early on. So yeah, it
mm,
felt right to kind of bring it back there for the focus track.
mm. Okay. So do you have any plan to uh for the next single after this after giving me love from this album?
So I'm gonna give it a little bit of time because you know I started releasing the start of the album campaign was in like March,
Mm,
and you know I had like 5 singles leading
okay.
into it.
Okay.
Um, and it's definitely being in like a release campaign is quite tiring. It
Yeah.
definitely took a lot out of me. Um, I know that um the way that people release music now, it's a lot faster, it's a lot more frequent. So I definitely, even though this album came out a week and a half ago, inside I'm like, oh my God, I need to be thinking about what I'm putting out next. But at the same time, I want to like respect the time I put into this record and let it at least breathe for a bit before kind of moving on. So yeah, we'll see. It'll probably be a little bit of time.
Okay. How about the tour? Maybe you as a uh,
Mm,
solo musician.
yeah.
Do you have any plan to start the tour or perform in to promote this album?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So currently I am doing as much as I can online, and I'm kind of holding off on the live side. I really want to be doing touring and performing. Yeah, I'd love to come out to Southeast Asia. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, basically, the main thing that I'm cautious of is not like when I do it, I want to do it right.
Mm,
And from doing Yakul, live was a really big thing for us. And
yeah.
so I saw firsthand the
Mm,
power of having a good live show and people, the way that it can cultivate fan base, people wanting to come and see you again, you know? And what I don't want is to do it a bit too early. Maybe I don't quite have the budget to do it on the level I want and, leave people not really that satisfied and then maybe they don't want to come and see it again. So you know, I also do see that the way that the industry works now and the way that being an artist works in the face of like social media and just the way the internet is, I don't think there's the same level of pressure to perform earlier on in a project compared to like 10, 20, 30 years ago. Um, so yeah, I'm doing as much as I can to kind of cultivate that community online, and then when the time feels right, I will 100% be doing some touring.
okay. So we can show that it's very different between you as a solo and as a Yakui
Yeah.
in on the stage. It's that if we can be sure that it's gonna be different in your
Yeah,
life.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So do you have any message to your fans in Indonesia to about this new
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
album?
100%. I hope that this album helps you understand me as an artist and a person better, and I also hope that it helps you understand parts of yourself better. Um, yeah, music over the last few years has really been
Mm,
a place to insulate myself when everything feels overwhelming, if life feels too much, like the anxiety and stress. There's certain albums and artists that I gravitate towards that just like made me feel a bit more understood and a little bit like safer, a little bit more hopeful. And yeah, with this album, I really wanted to be that person for somebody else,
yeah.
somebody that that just finds life hard, finds traversing their day to day just like overwhelming. And yes, I really want this album to feel like some place a place of solace that they can come and yeah, just feel calm, feel understood, and hopefully just like motivate them to to just like yeah, and help them get through their days and through their lives.
Okay. Okay. I have to ask this question.
Mm.
When you making this album, Lost Boys and Golden Hour, which you uh, any musician you influence or you listen before to influence to in the process of making album?
Yeah, 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 for sure. So yeah, there were definitely a few artists, and there's also another point that I'll make as well.
Mm,
But yeah, so I would say the main people that I took inspiration from for this album were there's this English artist called Humble the Great, and he yeah definitely was a big inspiration for it. Also Dijon, McGee, and yeah, also like Frank Ocean just as like an entity. Like I love the way that he kind of like creates worlds with his lyrics. Um, but really, the main thing that I tried to do, um, the artists that I feel really inspired when I listen to, there's a certain like feeling that listening to them gives me, and I really wanted to write music that gave people that feeling, and so
mm,
I tried to like I really like this phrase. I can't remember where I heard it. It was like instead of wishing you like wrote a song, a certain song or sounded like a certain artist, wish that you felt like that artist did when they wrote that song. So I tried to instead of like copying someone's like production technique or
mm.
their sound, I was trying to like feel how they felt when they wrote it, sort of thing, which was a new exercise for me. But yeah.
So we can say that jazz music, R&B, and soul is very inspiring you in the making music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you have any maybe try to another music like different thing maybe in the future?
Like outside of music.
No, different music outside jazz and R&B, maybe rock music or something.
That's really yeah, yeah, totally. It's interesting you say yeah, rock music because to me this album was kind of like a rebellion against
Okay.
what I did when I was like
Mm,
yeah, doing stuff with Yakul.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there was I wrote it all on guitar. There's like two guitar solos on the album
Mm,
and like I've never done a guitar solo on a song
mm,
ever before.
mm,
Um I think I was trying to get back in tune a little bit with the music that I listened to when I was a teenager, or at least how that music made me feel. Like I
mm.
listened to a lot of like very angsty, loud, like aggressive music. But it made me feel a certain way that mu music since then hasn't really made me feel. And I
Mm,
know that like, being a teenager, you're going through a lot of like emotional changes, so it's natural that things will feel a bit more. Um, but yeah, I really love not knowing what I'm gonna do in the future in terms of like
mm,
style.
mm,
The last few years, I've realized more and more how you're not really in control of how your music sounds if you're being t completely true to what's coming out.
mm,
So yeah, I'm sure that there'll be some curveballs and like some new like genres that I draw from in future, but I don't know what they'll be just as much as the listener doesn't, which is quite exciting, I think.
yeah. Okay, James, maybe one more question. What's your opinion about AI in music? It's uh
Hmm.
it's okay. What do you think? It's helping musician or making musician? Okay, what do you think
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
about?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's a really, really good question. Oh, man. So for for the most part,
Mm,
I don't like, at least where we are now, I don't
mm,
think it is a good thing.
mm,
But I think that I don't necessarily think that long term it has to
mm,
be. It depends how
mm,
people approach it. So
yeah.
I think AI as a tool
Mm,
could be fine. Like look back over the last few decades, sampling was a huge thing.
yeah.
People use like splice loops a lot. People will like use other people's music as a way
Mm,
of like
mm,
starting an idea or taking it in a new direction. So I think if people use AI as that sort of tool, I don't
mm,
necessarily see that as a bad thing. But like a point that I've made over the last couple of years about this is even if AI music becomes like everywhere, which it seems like
Mm,
it's about to be, um,
mm,
y no one's gonna be able to. You're never gonna have somebody being a super fan of an AI
yeah,
artist because there's nothing behind it. You can only
yeah,
be a super fan
yeah,
of an artist where you connect with the person behind it, and when
yeah,
nothing's behind it, you're
mm,
not going to be a super fan. The problem with this, though,
yeah.
the world that we live in, too many people are passive listeners. So
Ah,
they'll have Spotify, whatever DSP they use, they'll just have it in the background and they won't really even know what artists they're listening to. So if you've got AI artists getting thrown in with everybody else, you're making it even harder than it already is
yeah,
to make it a sustainable living off of streaming.
mm,
So I think it's going to be really, really bad for a lot of smaller artists.
mm,
Anybody that has a fan base,
mm,
I think they'll for the most part, they'll probably be okay. Um, my takeaway from this is that it's more important than ever to cultivate a real connection with real people, whether that's in person doing shows or whether that's having a newsletter, doing Discord, doing Patreon, or just like being on socials and like message and like replying to comments and
mm,
DMing your fan, like with like just having conversations with your fans. Anything that like if you think about the things that AI won't be able to do,
yeah,
those are the places in which we need to stand and be like really, really like strong together because those are going to be the places in which we can win over over AI music.
mm,
Um, yeah, I'm definitely apprehensive of the direction that it's going in, but at the same time, to me, you've got to be able to see a like an be optimistic and see some sort of like positive future. If you're totally if you're really pessimistic and you just think it's all for nothing, then it's almost like you might as well just do something else. Where like yeah, I am unsure about the direction it's going to go in and whether it's going to be positive, but I'm
mm,
sure that whatever it is, I will find a way of getting through it, and I know that a lot of other people will. But yeah, I understand the concerns that a very large number of people have because it definitely is it's a concerning direction that we're going in, but hopefully it'll all be it'll all work out in the end.
yeah. We hope so that it will be better with technology, that technology, and help the musician
Yeah.
to do their things like making music, like recording, but
Mm.
not in different way, in a bad way. I think so.
Yeah, 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 for sure. But who knows? Who knows what the future will hold with it?
Okay, James. Thank you for this conversation, this interview,
Thanks so much, Kenny.
and Brighton will be on the good position next.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, in the next year, this year, yeah, next uh, season.
Yeah, 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 100%.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks
James.
so much, Kenny. Thank you.
Thank you.